Walter. So right about here, I jumped another hurdle. I left the Walter and I started playing up and down the famous 63rd Street. 63rd in Chicago was jumping in. It's like a ghost town now. But so playing on 63rd Street, I would go to the Regal Theater all through the week. So while I'm in the Regal Theater, I go to these stage shows. So I go to this one show that was Chuck Jackson, the Shirelles, Ruben the Romantics, groups like that, and there was a singer that just left the Flamingos. They recorded Only Have Eyes for You. George Jackson know that group. So now, a guy came up and said, hey man, how would y'all like to go backstage and meet these people? So they took me backstage and I met everybody. And the guy said, well, Tommy Hunt needs a drummer. So Tommy Hunt had this hit record out called Lord, Why'd You Make Me Human? So I came home and told my mother and father, I said, Tommy Hunt needs a drummer. He want to take me to New York. Right away, my father said, look, you're doing good here. You don't need to go to New York. And as usual, my mother said, let him go to New York. And I'm still a teenager. So little Tommy Hunt takes me to New York, and I'll tell you different things, but you get in the book. I turned 21, ladies and gentlemen, on the Ohio Turnpike. That's how I was out there way before my time. Now I just stayed with Little Walter on my mind. I just stayed with Tommy Hunt for a little while. Then I moved on to Martha and the Vandellas. No, Marvin Gaye first. Martha and the Vandellas. So now I stayed in Detroit for about 7 months. So when I get back, I hook back up with a friend of mine, Joey D. We had the record of Peppermint Twist. Joey D and the Starliters. Now when I'm playing with Joey D, our guitar player left. So Joe said, Jimmy, it's your job to find a guitar player because Joey D was one of the first groups out there that had the integrated group. The Johnny Maestro and the Crest was first. Italian, black, white. Same thing with Joey D. He had white, Italians, and black. So we had three white guys, 2 Italians and 1 white guy in the band, 2 black guys. So they wanted 1 more black guy. So I went and found this guitar player. I was introduced to him. His name was Maurice James. Go to the hotel room. He laying up in the bed. They wake him up. He got nothing but an old guitar and a pair of turnover boots. So he played a little bit, and I called Joey. I said, man, I think we might have the guy. And he sent us to Lowell, New Jersey, and Jimmy auditioned for Joey. Joe said, yeah, we're using him. We practiced for about 2 weeks to get Joey D's showdown. The very night we supposed to heading for Syracuse, Jimmy wouldn't show up. So Joey D looked at me and said, man, you brought him here, this is your responsibility. I had to get in the cab and go up in Harlem. They was having a party, and I mean a party. I couldn't even get in. Otis Redding, all kind of people just left the Apollo. See, they were, back in the 60s, it was a party time. So I'm knocking on the windows and knocking on the windows, and finally, Faye Pritchard told me years later, she had to beg Jimmy to get up. She said, you know you're supposed to be going out of town with these people. So at that time, I finally got him up, and we got to Syracuse, and it went on and on. I'll tell you some other things. Some things with my mother being here, it's a little juice, so I'm not going to go there. You'll have to read that on your own, okay? Now, Jimmy had left. Jimmy had left and went on his own. Now he went with Curtis Knight and Squires first, another local group, but he would have to use my apartment. My lady name was Cookie, we had an apartment. Jimmy couldn't practice where he was living. He should owe me money too, because I would give him cab fare to come to the apartment to practice. And he was playing this old crazy music. I wasn't into Bob Dylan, Please Crawl Out of Your Window and all that. But I had no idea he was getting his craft together. Because if you listen to him, his singing voice is identical to Bob Dylan's. But Jimmy is not a singer, so to speak. But he could sing enough to deliver what he was doing. So he used my place to practice. And then one day he came and told me, he said, man, I got this gig down in the village at the cafe. Why don't you come on down there with me? I said, well, Jimmy, that's cool. What is it paying? He said, no, we're going to work for the dough. Working for the dough means when people come through the door, they'll pay. You don't know people come to the door and pay, that means you didn't get no money. I said, Jimmy, you got to be crazy if you think I'm going to leave Joey D and work in the Cafe Wild, and look what I missed. I should have worked in the Cafe Wild, and I went to Europe with him. But so much for that. But about a year later, I'm sitting in this restaurant, I met this young lady. She said, I noticed this, about 15 people came in, and I see this tall guy with a feather in his cap. And she said, there go your friend. I said, who? Now he done went from Maurice James to Jimmy James. While he was in the village, he was Jimmy James. She said, that's Jimi Hendrix. I said, I don't know Jimi Hendrix. And Jimmy had the hottest album in the world, Are You Experienced? And he was red hot, but I don't listen to rock and roll at that time. I didn't know who Jimi Hendrix was. She said, look, you all used to be roommates with Joey D. I said, oh yeah, Maurice. So I went through the crowd. He see me, hey man, he'd get up, he used to call me his little funk brother. He got me and picked me up, whirled me around. Then he said, well, look man, we talked about it. He said, I'm with these people here, taking care of some business. Give her your number, give my secretary your number, and I'll get back to you. I said, yeah, okay, here goes the runaround. He done became a star now, so that's that. 3 days later, I get a call, and the lady said, Jimmy wants you to come to the recording studio to do some recording. I said, Jimmy who? She said, Jimi Hendrix. I said, he couldn't mean me. He could have called any drummer in the world. He was at the top of his game. But he called his little brother. And I went in and we recorded a song called My Friend. Since then, My Friend has been used on The Cry of Love, First Raise of the New Rising Sun, Martin Scorsese presents Jimmy's Blues. So I'm on 4 different CDs with Jimi Hendrix, ladies and gentlemen. That's not too bad for a little country boy from Jackson, Mississippi. So now, that went on, and like I said, I just got to give you enough so you can buy the book, okay?